everyone, it's Steve from Sneaker Tech Talk, back with another video today. For today's video, we will be taking a look at the performance review of the Nike Lebron 23. So without further ado, let's take a look at his newest signature shoe. Alright, so I got these about 4 or 5 days ago, and I've spent around 3 to 3.5 hours every day in them so far, whether it's just getting shots up at practice, coaching my U10 boys, and or just getting runs in at different gyms. And I have a lot to say about this shoe, but it's just crazy to me that we are on his 23rd signature shoe and he's played in every shoe up until now. That is a crazy feat. He's about to enter his 23rd season in the NBA with this model on foot. It sounds like he might be sitting out for the first month or so, but it's going to be interesting to see the colorways that come out for this model and just how this shoe continues to perform after its initial performance review. But like I said, let's take a look at the Lebron 23. All right, so as always, first things first, starting off with the traction pattern. You do have this 23 inspired outsole right here, and it does kind of have this wave herringbone traction pattern at the bottom of the shoe. And how this outsole performs on clean floors is fantastic. Dirty floors, it does struggle. As you can see right here, there is quite a bit of dust on the bottom of the shoe, and I have cleaned these things twice with Jason Mark since I've had them. So they do pick up a ton of dust on the outsole. As far as the durability goes, I don't see really any wear and tear on this outsole so far, but the overall performance is great on clean floors. Dirty floors, however, you will have to wipe this outsole because these get caked with dirt if you're playing on a dirty floor. I wouldn't say you slide out, but you slide to a stop. And for me, that is a little annoying. So I was wiping a ton the one night I was playing on a dirtier floor, and these were good as long as I was wiping. But if you didn't wipe, you would kind of slide an inch or two to a stop. So you kind of lose a bit of that traction on the dirtier floors. But if you're playing on like a college or NBA style floor where it's like waxed and clean, these are an absolute elite setup as far as the traction goes. It does wrap up on the medial side right here for extra coverage if you do drag your foot. As far as the rubber compound, it is pretty soft, so I'd probably stay away from bringing these outdoors. Not to mention they are 210 USD, 260 here in Canada as far as the price point goes. So I'm sure they're going to go on sale for like 40 or 50% off in the next couple months. If you want to take them outdoors, go ahead, but you will wear through this outsole rather quickly. These also have a decently loud squeak while they're clean. On clean floors, sorry. On dirty floors, you kind of lose a bit of that feedback and sound on the Lebron 23 because it does get clogged up with dust. But overall, the traction is pretty good on his newest signature shoe. Would I say it's better than the Lebron 20s? Probably not, but it is adequate in my opinion. So as far as the traction goes on the Nike Lebron 23, I would have to give these a pretty solid 8.5 out of 10. Now, as far as the cushioning goes on this model, that's where it's a big departure from his last three. His last three models had heel, I believe a 12 or 14 millimeter Zoom airbag, and then a 4-foot Zoom turbo bag. With these, it is a departure from that. I really did enjoy the last setup. With this one right here, you are getting a double lasted midsole, so you don't really get any foam on the outside of the shoe. You just get the crown containment, and then inside the shoe, you get this Cushlon 3.0 and ZoomX drop-in midsole setup with a carbon fiber midfoot shank plate. Now, how does this perform underfoot? I will say that this little seam where the ZoomX and the Cushlon meets, the Cushlon is more firm and the ZoomX is a lot more soft. So your foot sinks in to this drop-in midsole. Now, for me, that was a bit problematic because if you run your finger along this seam right here, you can feel it sinking on one side and more firm on the other. And I had pain all the way around my foot where that seam is for about the first half an hour. Now, after that, it did go away. But for that first half an hour with the seam and the carbon plate right here, I did have some pretty nasty foot spasms. My feet were in pain. I had to loosen the shoe so I could kind of let my feet breathe a bit. But after that, these did perform really nicely. In the heel, you have really nice and pretty thick impact protection at the back. I never once felt like it wasn't adequate on foot and on court when I did come down after grabbing a rebound or a jump shot. And then in the forefoot, it is a lot thinner, like Kobe-esque thin. So you are going to get a lot of court feel up front with that Zoom X and Cushlon 3.0 setup. Now, is this setup as good as his last 3 shoes with the heel and forefoot zoom? I'm going to say no. It is really comfortable, and I do love drop-in midsole setups, but I would have preferred some sort of iteration of Zoom Air. Now, I know all you guys are like, oh, you always say Zoom Strobel, but for me, that's my favorite setup. I know there needs to be a difference in models as far as what they offer, but I would have even liked to see kind of like they used to do with the Elite shoes, like a Zoom Air bag embedded in the heel and forefoot of this setup right here, just to add a bit of an extra bounce to your step. The Zoom X is nice, but keep in mind, over time, this is gonna wear down and become a lot less like elastic as far as giving you that nice feedback and bounce. It's gonna become a lot more dead. So keep that in mind with foam compounds, but while it lasts, it is very nice. It's just nothing groundbreaking underfoot as far as I'm concerned. So you get, like I said, you get good heel impact protection and pretty nice court feel up front. Probably the best court feel on a Lebron to date, honestly. So for me, I did enjoy myself, but just keep in mind that break-in period was pretty nasty on foot. My feet were in pain for about a day or two after that, just because of this setup right here. But how would I score these? Honestly, I would give these a pretty solid 8.5 out of 10. I did enjoy my time in this drop-in midsole, but I wouldn't say it's the best drop-in midsole from Nike to date. Another cool thing about this drop-in midsole is it has all of these kind of like laser etched logos and such. I believe a lot of these logos are kind of talking about the colorways that are going to come out for the Nike LeBron 23. It's also in the booklet, but it's really cool that the brand did kind of offer that running throughout the bottom of this drop-in midsole. Now, as far as the fit goes, it's a bit tricky, honestly. I tried on a 10.5, an 11, and a 10 at the store before they said no try-ons. I did try these on prior to them coming out. Size 10 was really snug. Like, I don't think I could have got away with it. Size 11 was too long. 10.5 felt just right. Now this shoe I've lined up with all of my other size 10.5 LeBrons, and they run just a little bit long. But I think the biggest thing with this shoe is right across the midfoot right here at the last eyelet, it is rather wide. So if you're not a wide footer, you may want to try going down half a size. For me, my toe is just past this stitching right here, kind of where this patent leather meets. So my toe is right near the end of the shoe. I don't think I could have comfortably gone down to a size 10. The width is good. Like I said, it's a bit more wide foot friendly. You have a ton of padding at the back of the shoe. The tongue is very padded. You kind of have that Pro Combat-esque tongue right here. So the overall fit is nice, but these do take time to break in, at least an hour to an hour and a half, because of this oversized kind of crown containment logo right here. This material is rather bulky, and honestly, compared to his last 3 shoes, these honestly feel the most bulky out of the other models. We'll check the weight in a second, but overall the fit is nice on foot. They are cozy, they do fit nice, but keep in mind, I kind of feel like they run a little bit big, not so much on the length, but more on the width. So if there's any way you can try these on in store or order 2 sizes online and return the one that doesn't work for you, I would recommend that. But overall, this is a very comfy shoe on foot. It just takes some time to break in, and that's why these are going to score an 8 out of 10. Now, as far as the materials go on the Nike LeBron 23, you get a touch of premium materials at the tongue right here with this really nice leather. You get a synthetic leather right here on the medial side. The crown containment logo is kind of like a patent leather material, which creases up really badly. It takes some time to break in, and honestly, it's kind of annoying the way it fits your foot off the jump. It does break in and conform to your foot a little bit better, but I would have preferred, like, honestly, if you're gonna go this route, throw like a Foamposite light material in here that conforms to your foot, and it wouldn't crease as bad either. Now, the material where the palm trees are, it's kind of like a jacquard material, almost like underneath it, it's almost like a screen mesh, but I really like the print on the upper of this shoe. It gives it that really cool and premium vibe. Now, overall, does this material kind of make this shoe $210? Absolutely not. It's more of the tech that's packed into the shoe, but I don't mind the materials on these. The biggest gripe for me is that patent leather material that fits rather weird and just creases kind of nasty. But there's not a ton of breathability with the shoe, I will say that. The only breathability that you're going to be getting on the shoe is right up the tongue with this Pro Combat-esque material. So for me, the materials, they're better than last year in my opinion, but they're not as good as the 20s. So it's a little bit of a letdown. I do think they look spectacular in hand. Sound off in the comments what you guys think, but as far as the materials go, these are gonna get an 8 out of 10. Weight goes, again, this is a US size 10.5, and these come in at 16.05 ounces. The drop-in midsole itself weighs 3.6 ounces. So the shoe itself, obviously in the shell, is rather lightweight. This is adding a lot of weight, but overall, it's a pretty average weight in my opinion. Most of my basketball shoes are around 14.5 to 17 ounces in a size 10.5. Now, as far as the support goes, in the Nike Lebron 23 at the back of the shoe, you have an internal TPU heel counter, which does a pretty nice job of locking your foot in at the back of this shoe right here. Now, moving your way down from that, you do have this crown containment logo right here, which doesn't do a whole lot because behind this crown containment running down each of the eyelets is kind of a strap that runs down into the strobo board on both sides. So when you really crank these laces down, it does kind of wrap around your foot very securely like so. So you do get a ton of containment when you really crank your laces down. If you make hard lateral cuts, you will have that support on the lateral side. At the bottom of the shoe, it is a very wide and stable base. You have this really oversized kind of triangular outrigger right here, which does a great job of preventing your foot from teetering over and spraining your ankle. Now, the drop-in midsole does have a little bit of a lip wrapped all the way around, so your foot is seated housed within it. You also have this different material from the Cushlon 3.0 that is a lot more firm on the lateral side, and that's so when you make those hard lateral cuts, this midsole does not teeter over inside the shoe, and it does a fantastic job of containing your foot. You also have this carbon fiber midfoot shank plate, which does take some time to break in because it kind of digged into my arch and caused a little bit of pain. So this does take some time to break in. It does offer some really nice torsional rigidity directly under your foot, but keep in mind, without this drop-in midsole in there, these shoes they pretty much have no support. And I did post a video on Instagram of this, and a lot of people were kind of up in arms about it, but if you've ever played in a drop-in midsole setup shoe, you're not getting a ton of support as far as, you know, preventing the shoe from bending without this inside the shoe. And that just goes to show the amazing engineering job and the exact fit of this drop-in midsole while it's in this shoe right here. So no worry, once you have the drop-in midsole set up in the shoe, it is a lot more firm and adds structure to the Nike Lebron 23. So this shoe definitely has a ton of support. It's honestly one of its best features as far as performance goes, and that's why they're going to score a very solid 9 out of 10. So can I recommend the Nike Lebron 23? Off the aesthetics alone, I love the look of this shoe. I think it looks great. It looks aggressive. I love the crown containment look, although this material itself doesn't really do anything. It's the straps behind this upper that really contains your foot within the shoe. I think the look is fantastic. The performance is pretty mediocre in my opinion. It's nothing groundbreaking, although they did add this kind of really crazy Cushlon and ZoomX drop-in midsole with this carbon fiber midfoot shank plate. It does a pretty good job underfoot. Nothing groundbreaking in my opinion. But can I recommend this shoe at 210 USD, 260 here in Canada? I would say wait for these to go on sale unless you're someone like myself that has to put out a video as far as how they perform. If you're just looking to pick up the latest Lebron, check out the 22s or the 21s. You can grab them for 50% off or more online. I would definitely wait for these to hit the sales racks because honestly, the performance does not justify the price in my opinion for the Nike Lebron 23. But if you've played in them, sound off in the comments what you think of this shoe thus far. But like I said, that's going to do it for today's performance review on LeBron's 23rd signature shoe. Sound off in the comments what colorway you're planning on picking up. This Miami Twice colorway is very nice. I love this kind of like diamond or jewelized swoosh right here. It adds a great touch to the back of the shoe. Just keep in mind, I would try these on if you can in store, and not to mention the box. Like the box and this shoe inside of it weighs 10 pounds. I weighed it the other day. It's absolutely insane. All the plastic and extras that you do get with this model right here is pretty wild. So that's gonna do it for today's video. As always, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, that would definitely help the channel a ton. And check out my Instagram over at Sneaker Tech Talk, as it is an extension of my YouTube channel with all my pickups, basketball footage, and nostalgia as a whole. As always, thanks for watching today's video, and until next time, peace.